How you doing, sir?
What's good, brother? Jorge? Is it Jorge?
Jorge or George, whatever you prefer. Thank you for
Uh,
having me. I appreciate you, sir.
no problem. Thank you for being on. Thank you for being
Oh,
on.
no, that's all good.
All right, let me.
So first of all,
Uh,
congratulations. Your candidate won.
thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, feels good, but it's not personal, really. But I
Oh, no, no, no,
appreciate
no,
it.
no. I feel you. I feel you. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? You was right. You called it. You know what I mean? You gotta give a man his props when he predicts the outcome. You know?
I appreciate it. Well, I didn't predict the outcome, to be honest with you. I didn't know if he was going to win or not. Oh,
Nah,
whenever somebody asked me, I wasn't really sure. I
nah,
didn't
I
know he
got
was
you.
going to win. Yeah.
You got one big mic. Yeah, I do. That's funny. So okay, where do you like to start, sir?
It's whatever. It's whatever. You say you disagree.
Well,
What
well,
exactly do you disagree with?
my main thing disagree is that I didn't like the fact that there was bills being presented to Congress before the election year
Mm,
that really could have helped the American people out, and I felt like the Republicans blocked these bills
mm.
in effort to give Trump an advantage in the election
Okay.
because we all know that American people mostly vote based upon quality of life.
Mm,
If they feel their quality of life is good, the incumbent's most likely going to go.
yeah.
If they don't feel that way, you're out of
Yeah.
here. So I felt like that was a little thing that pushed me towards Harris.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, and to be honest with you, I didn't really like Harris.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I didn't really like Harris for some personal reasons, and um, but I did like what Democrats were trying to push for this election.
Okay. So wait, are you specifically speaking about the border bill?
No, I don't care about the border. I don't care about
Okay.
look. I understand that there's a labor shortage in the United States of
Mm,
America. So people don't like it or not. Look, they're letting people in the country because I'm not going out there and picking cotton, but
mm,
cotton needs to be picked.
mm,
I'm not picking. I'm not picking fruit, but fruit and vegetables need to be picked.
mm.
These are the job migrants want to do.
You don't think
So
anybody else wants to do those
I
jobs?
I don't know. I know that I went to college. I didn't go to college to work on a farm. You know what I'm
I
saying?
think that's the disconnect. I remember seeing a video with it's literally 14 years ago. It's Roland Martin and he's speaking to another guy. I don't know who that guy is, but
Mm-hmm.
he's interviewing him as the expert, and he's saying that whenever this topic of illegal migration is brought up, he says, I see a very negative, or it's like a very strong response from black men specifically, he said. And the guy says, yes, I've noticed that too. But they were basically saying that why does it seem that there's a certain sect of black people who feel like that is not a black issue? And what Roland asked the man was, do you think it's because of college education? And the guy says, I think so. He said, I don't think that we can discount certain segments of the black community, and that the people who are in college might be feeling like, well, they're not taking my job, but there are a lot of people who might not have the education or might not be old enough to have the experience, but still want to get money.
I
And
I see your point.
you know what I
I
mean?
do see your point. However, with the majority of Americans gathering around urban areas in the United States and farms not really being located in urban areas,
Mm-hmm.
what is out there to push people to those areas for this type of employment? And then what type of salary do they pay? Is it a salary that the average American can live off of? Will I be able to go out every day and feed my family doing this type of work?
Right.
That's one thing I question. I don't have enough information to answer educationally and make an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to say that is if that's the case, then he's valid. You know what I mean? But if it's not, then it's a problem because look at it like this. And I don't want to come off racist. If I do, I apologize. Every time I drive around a construction site,
Yeah.
it's Hispanics. You know what I mean? I don't know how much they get paid, but they have taken over that workforce.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a barrier entry for black people to get into that, but I don't see it as much as I see, like black people working in restaurants,
Okay.
bars, or something like hospitality field. You
Okay.
know, so I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm not doing the research, but if that's the case, then what are we going to do to solve that issue? Because I agree, these are jobs that if you send migrants back, there's going to be a shortage in that form. Because so how do we address that?
Well, I have an anecdotal story, but so I'll get to the. Please remind me because I'll be forgetting because I go all over the place. But I have an anecdotal story about that. But first, I think that it's culture. People go where the powers that be tell them to go for the most
I
part.
feel you. I
You know
feel
what I
you.
mean? If they were to incentivize that type of work, I think people would run to it. Now, to the anecdotal story, they were this is not my story, so I just heard this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't verified or anything like that, but what
Right.
they were basically saying was there was some type of I think this was in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know if it was in Ohio, but I think this might have been during Obama. They sent a bunch of migrants home that created a vacuum, but then when they put out the job listings, the first people that lined up were the low income white people. And
Interesting.
when they asked the guy, why would you want this job? Don't you feel like this job is like beneath you? He says it pays more than the gas station.
That's true.
Because there's already low skill, low wage workers.
No, I
They're everywhere.
agree.
You know what I mean? So it's when it comes to that part, it's like you have to ask the question, well, is the man working at the cash register at the gas station, is he making a livable wage? Because then what would really be the difference between working at the, one versus the other, except at least if you work in the fields or whatever, you're getting agricultural
Getting
skills.
agricultural skills and you're getting a workout. So I see what you're
Yeah,
saying.
it's also you're also
Yeah.
getting a workout,
Yeah.
So
So I can see the pluses and minuses of that.
like you said, I haven't done any research on it to know the numbers though. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
Nah, I agree. I agree with you like that. I can't, you know what I mean? Like I can't say like I'm not gonna be honest with you. The migrants didn't bother me. You know what I mean?
right.
Especially Haitians. You know what I mean? Like my my great grandfather is actually a descendant of Haiti. So
Okay.
hearing that didn't bother me. You know what I mean? But
Okay.
eating the dogs and cats kind of bothered me. I ain't gonna
Right.
hold you because I
Okay.
know that's not what my people do.
Okay.
But like I mean, like this is America. Like it's stolen land. Like
Mm.
nobody's here is from here technically. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like for example, you go to France. Well, that could be another story. Some people say we've been
okay.
here before.
No. I mean,
But
I'm just saying, born on soil makes you a
well,
native. That,
born on soil makes you a native. But I mean, like like if you go to if say if you go to like Africa, you could trace your roots probably centuries.
right.
You know what I mean? You really can't do that here. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean.
Okay.
Like,
I see what
yeah,
you're saying. More of a legacy extended back.
more of a legacy thing. You
Okay.
know what I mean? But nah, that's what I'm saying. But yeah, that's why I went Democratic. You know what I
Okay.
mean? But I see why people voted for Trump,
Mm.
and I do see you make valid points. You know what I mean? Like the thing about it is that this country does need change.
Yeah.
Is he the change we need? It's yet to be determined. But
Mm.
we're going to find
Yeah,
out. We're going to find out.
out.
You know,
I feel like in a sense we kind of have seen it. I mean, as a person that never really was concerned about politics, as a person that always thought that I didn't trust the media, but didn't realize how much I actually did trust the media.
Yeah.
I thought I didn't trust the media. I didn't trust politicians until they start telling me stuff about the negative stuff Trump is doing or the type of world we're going to have because of him.
Right.
And certain things I didn't believe, but there were certain things I definitely did believe until I went and looked it up for myself. And it's like, if I can be deceived to believe this, when I really did feel highly educated on that stuff, I felt like it would be easy to see through those things. Because like I said, in my mind, nobody I know trusts the media or the government.
Well,
We never have.
That's the thing, like we're in an information age, and like for example, like if you got a good production team, you can make some information, put it on YouTube that's very believable.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
my thing is that where do we go for good source of information, quality information? And technically we used to go to the papers,
Yeah.
newspapers and the news.
Yeah.
However now, like It's ratings. It's money. It's
Yeah.
capitalism, money making machine, and
Right.
sensationalism keeps people engaged. So you're right. We don't believe. You know what I mean? Like, but the main thing about it is that we all Americans at the end of the day, and we want to see this country go, and we want to take care of our families and live a fruitful life.
Yeah.
You know,
At the
so
end of the day.
I think all Americans have that in common,
Yeah.
whether you're a Trump supporter or not.
Right.
And the thing about it is that, and that's why what bothers me so much about racism is because, you know, when you look at white people who are poor and black people who are poor, they pretty much live the same way.
Yeah.
Like, and they dreaming for the same things. And it's like, yo, you're dividing each other based upon the way you look, the way you talk, and the music you listen to is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, we all want to get money and live fruitfully. You know what I mean? So like, and I remember you said Trump is a racist. I don't know if he's a racist. I definitely think he's elitist. You know what I mean? Like, like for example, like he doesn't know what it's like not to go without food or not to have. You know what I mean? Like how to be hungry. You know what I mean? How to wake up and your kids are starving. You don't know what to do with the next meal. You know what I mean? Like, so he doesn't come from humble beginnings. So from that being said, he's not understanding, like, yo, all right, I get rid of the Department of Education. Okay. Well, the Department of Education may be funding some school in some town where, like, it's only the tax revenue doesn't fund the school so everybody can get a good education, white or black. Now, I think that the education system needs to be revamped because it's not serving the people, and when they need to go back to trades and stuff like that, which they took away from them. Yeah, because like, I mean, there was a time where you can go to school, you can learn to be an electrician, you can learn to be auto mechanic. Yo, everybody don't want to go to college. You know what I mean? Computer programming. Like, why can't I learn how to program a computer in high school? You know what I mean? That's the type of programs we have, but they do that in other countries.
Yeah.
You know, like I had a friend who was a teacher. She told me that in one country, every year kid around 12 years old took this test. Based upon this test, they said, okay, you're talented. We're going to put you on the path to go to college. You're not that educationally savvy. We're going to put you on to be a mechanic, an electrician, and stuff like that. Why we're not doing this? You know what I mean? Like we're sending everybody to college, and you know what I mean? Everybody ain't college material. I wasn't college material at 18. I went that route.
But you know that's not the point.
No, what's the point?
They're just trying to shove as many people through the system. I mean,
I agree.
They're basically making a generation of debtors through college.
No,
you know
I got you. I agree.
And of course, you know that they say the public school system was created to take people from the agricultural, self-made type of mentality to go work in the factories and the big corporate businesses and stuff like that. So it's like I was thinking today when someone left a comment, in underneath one of my posts talking about Trump wanting to get rid of the education system or the public education system, and it hit me in that moment how we're so dependent on the government that we don't remember that there was a time where there wasn't a public education system. That
to go to school and churches. Yeah.
And it's like the things that we complain about with these public schools are the things that we miss about that era. You know what I mean? It's like that, and that's why I want to have conversations like this, because I don't like the fact that it's got to be, if you on this side you pro public school, if you on this side you anti. There can be something good about it, but there could also be something. It was established 1974. That's new as fuck.
Yeah,
that's new.
Well,
in a sense, we might have. It might be the time now to look at that long of data and say, did this shit work based on the equal amount of time beforehand, or is it not working?
I agree.
And if and not to cut, because I know you want to make a point. And then also, if the person who started that whole thing had in a sense, nefarious agenda, that I don't understand why we would continue to necessarily prop it up.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. You know, something definitely needs to be done about the public educational system, especially for black men, because we happen to get lost in that system very fast.
Yeah,
you know, we definitely get lost if you don't show the talent that is needed they push you in the back and they push you along. And then you get to be 18 and you have no formidable skills. And then what do you look at? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you only have a couple alternatives.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, no, I agree with you on that.
Do you think that is it? Because this, what it comes down to me with that is, do you feel like that is a part of culture? Because that's when it boils down to the thing. People always ask me like, so what do you think Trump is going to do for black people? It's like, well, I don't think that. I think that everybody should stop looking to the government for all that type of stuff, like
I
what they're going
agree.
to do for you. Because there was a time where we didn't do that, and that made us a lot more self-sufficient. We did a lot better, and that's when we were more after what I now understand is called human capital. But now we are so focused on political capital, you know, and with the political capital, what it seems like is when we focus on that, you're not able to critique our behavior. And if you can't critique the behavior, you know how that goes. If you can't chastise a child, you know what path they're on.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you got to do that stuff in love or whatever. So it's like, if I'm not able to critique your behaviors, I can't change your human capital.
No, that's good.
Can't,
no.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like when it comes to the like one of the human capitals, that's why I'm asking, is it a culture thing? Because we all have like this stigma or stereotype about first generation people, like your first generation Nigerian, Indian, Jamaican, whatever it is. When you come to America, you don't have your own life. Your parents dictate what your life is going to be.
Right.
You go to school for your parents. You get that job for your parents. You get married, the kids for your parents. You know, your life is for that. So their idea of like, but we don't have that. We are free. Don't. My mom's like, if you don't want to go to college, you don't have to go. I'm glad she did that, but it worked out for me, you know. So I'm glad she did that. But imagine if we had that. No, you have to go to college. You have to become an engineer. You have to become a doctor. You have to become
that's the culture.
You see what I'm saying? So that's
the culture. That is the culture that you're speaking. That's the American culture. You get kids. You get married. You get kids. You buy a house. You raise your kids. You send them off to college.
Yeah.
That is the American culture. You know, like if your kid graduates from college and goes into the army, you may be looked upon like, oh, why they do that? You know what I mean? In some culture, you know what I mean? If your kid goes and say, okay, I'm gonna go to trade school, well, why you do that? And I think, you know, like we need to, especially as black people, we need to adopt more nepotism, where like, you know, it's always this thing like we want to get it out the mud. You know, we want to create our own from our space. It's like, nah, that's not why our parents did it. And you know what I mean? Like you're supposed to, the next generation should have it easier, easier. Right. You know what I mean? And so the thing about it is that if you have a kid that shows an extra talent, like, okay, push them to persuade that. But if they're not, like, yo, I was a police officer, you join the force. I was a correctional officer, you join in the force. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Especially if you can get them in there easy and show them the ropes. You know what I mean? But we don't like doing that, and that's a problem. And that's a part of the culture that I'm going to say white people do that we don't. You know what I mean? Like, I see white people, they hook their kids up with a job all the time. We don't necessarily do that. You know, our kids, we work at a corporation or wherever you work, and they have a summer internship program. You don't see other people's kids in there, but it'd be some big up, their kid be in there, you know what I mean, learning the ropes. Like, we need to do more than that, more of that. Yeah, true. So, like, you know, like everybody was talking about Bronny James getting on the Lakers. I was like, yo, that's dope. Yeah. Like, yo, if I'm the most powerful, most popular player in the NBA and my son plays basketball, he's not getting drafted? Like, are you serious? Yeah. Like, yo, come on now. Like, he's not signing a contract, guaranteed bread? Yo, he is. Yeah, you know what I mean? You made billions off my back. You giving me this $4 million. Like, that's nothing. Like, so, yeah, we need to bring more of that back.
Yeah, that's true. That's one of the things
Navy's black people. I'm sorry, black people are capable of bringing someone on. We are, because we have a crab in a barrel mentality, or we don't want to see nobody rise above us. You know what I mean? Because like in a lot of places, you know, you might be that only black face, but the thing about it is that you there so you could bring your brother on. Open the door. Perfect example. And my bad, I'm a talker. I'm sorry.
No, you good, bro.
You remember? I don't know if people remember. Michael Vick just got out of jail. And what was the dude? I forget the quarterback name, the black quarterback.
McNabb.
McNabb. McNabb was like, yo, bring Vic on.
Yeah.
He brought Vic on because he wanted to bounce. So he got Vic on. So he was like, yo, when I'm out, this is you.
Damn.
Boom. He slid right in there and he kept on playing. Like, yo, that's it. But all right, I'll be quiet. People are like, yes, you are talking. All right. I'm sorry, brother. Yeah, it's all good. My bad.
That's all good, man. I'm enjoying the conversation, to be honest with you.
Me too. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Me too.
Yeah. So, I mean, shit, like you said, one of the things I noticed, at least in Philadelphia, the black Muslims, they're not Nation of Islam. They're Sunni Muslims, you know what I mean?
I know what you're talking about. I've been in Philly.
Right. Okay, yeah, see, they got community. They got a community of stores.
Yep.
They have their own business sectors, all that. They do it.
Yep.
They do it. Even the nation.
Yeah.
Like in Virginia, they got their own areas. They actually do it.
Mm-hmm. I remember there was a spot like that in Brooklyn back in the day. Then they moved all to Atlanta. Yeah, but I remember that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, see, that's like, I think that it is possible. I feel like it's a part of culture.
Yeah,
man.
it is
like,
a part of culture.
Cause that's not what I was thinking of growing up, bro. I wanted to play basketball and rap.
Yo, I wanted to rap too, man. I ain't gonna hold you.
That's why
I wanted to rap.
Since I didn't go to college, I could cut hair, so I just cut hair and was like, I'm gonna make it in rap eventually.
Yeah,
so I'm just going.
I'll be real with you. I wanted to go to college because I was like, yo, I wanted to start a record company. To be real with you, like, you know, like I didn't fulfill the dream. Like I was like, all right, I'll go to college. I could get a job as a record executive, thing like that. You know what I mean? I never went that path, but that's what I was thinking my freshman year. So I feel you. Yeah, because that's what we look like. We look and see people that look like us. That's what you want to be. And back in those days, what were they doing? Rapping. You see a young black man on TV. If he wasn't Malcolm Jamal Warner, he was rapping. Yo, that's you know what I mean? Like, yeah. And who else was the cool dude? Like, yo, the cool dudes when I came from the hood, when I grew up, and I'm from Queens, New York.
I could tell. I could hear the accent.
Yeah, it was the drug dealers. They had the nice cars. The next dudes after that was the barbers. The barbers, because they had nice cars. They was young and they had and then after that was the New York Knicks players, man. That's who I looked up to. You know what I mean? Like everybody else, I didn't see him. You know what I mean? I seen a dude at my house. I didn't start respecting the men on my street going to work every day till I was grown. And I was like, oh, okay, these dudes are real men. Like, I see what they doing. You know what I mean? But as a kid, you know what I mean? Like, they wasn't glorifying what they did, you know what I mean? Which they didn't have to. You know what I mean? Like, they was busy. They was working. They was providing for their family. But then, you know, you get older and you talk to him, you're like, oh, this dude, he was doing this, he was doing that. Like, okay, so.
That's true, man. I mean, I feel like part of it also is the fact that we are so separate, like we are individuals inside of a community. Like, you know how my mom always told me, like, if she was to do something on the block, then and her mom went home, then the neighbors would beat her ass, and then they would, you know, when the mom got home, they would tell the mom, and it's like when you live in a community like that, like. I don't know if you get to act out as much. I don't know if the police got to come around as much and confront people.
Now you don't.
You know what I'm saying?
But that was the bad thing of the ending of segregation. Because before a black community, if you was a black doctor, you was in the hood. If you was a black lawyer, you was in the hood.
That's true.
If you was a black, you know what I mean, anything, professional, whatever, you was in the hood.
That's true.
The segregation ended. You had the money to go to the white neighborhood and go into those areas, and they went and they fled and left the hood behind. So they left their impact and influence off of it. So, and that's where, you know, you see more crime come about and everything like that, because it's like you aspire to be what you see.
Unfortunately.
You know what I mean? What you see and what you know. You know what I mean? Like. You're not going to aspire to build the next big company unless somebody puts you on that it's possible. You know what I mean? And that's what's important about education.
Oh, okay. So, because in that sense, like the word education means to pull from within. You know what I mean? That's
it pulls from exactly.
But in that sense, what you're saying is like basically like knowing the person's potential and Yeah, and drawing it out of them, but for
Well,
like for the more positive things,
well, the
as
thing
opposed
about
to
it is that to me, there's a difference between education and intelligence.
mm,
I can
okay,
be educated. That means that I've studied, I've learned about a specific science or art
mm,
that can help me be productive. That doesn't mean I'm intelligent.
no,
That doesn't mean I know how to imply what I have learned.
right, right,
Like there's
yeah,
people who are intelligent who don't have to go a traditional educational path and still have the ability to apply
mm,
information they learn to make it successful.
right.
You know what I mean? So
Now
it's
that's
just a brother like yourself. Like
mm,
because and I'm only saying that because you said you didn't go to
no,
college.
yeah, I did,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
But yet
yeah,
you're successful.
right, right,
You see what I mean? Like
yeah, yeah,
you
true,
took what you learned and you applied it and
yeah,
you made a life for
right,
yourself.
right,
You know what I mean?
right,
Not going the path of learning and education. So
mm,
that you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like you educate yourself educated. You know what
right,
I mean?
right, yeah,
But you did that all based upon for your
mm,
intelligence. You know what I mean? Some people don't have the intellect or the ability to do it and they have to go the traditional
right,
path. That might be somebody like me. You know what I mean? Like I needed that guidance. You know what I mean? You didn't. You was able to do it yourself. So
okay, I see what you're saying.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to the education stuff. I'm not because I feel like the greatest to me, the most important thing about public school is the character building.
Yeah.
It's
You learned a
hard.
lot. You learned a lot, man, going to
Yeah,
public school, man.
it's
You
fucking hard. Like it ain't
you
the
learned how to protect yourself. Number one.
yeah.
Because they don't know, you learn how to protect yourself. You learn how to, you know, interact, like
Exactly.
build what network.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like you learn how to um socialize and
exactly.
get
That's
along with your
one.
people. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely you learn a lot going to public school,
yeah.
like definitely. You know what I mean? And my main fear about is the I'm worried about black colleges,
Okay.
because government funds a lot of black
Okay.
colleges,
Okay.
and that's what it scares me about the education department also going away
Mm,
because, I went to Morgan State University and
okay.
and I know like now it's a state funded school,
Mm.
but like I know like Howard is funded by the federal government. A lot of people don't know that Howard University is funded by the paper,
Okay.
and I would hate to see Howard go away.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And we as a people, we have the foundation to save it, but then we got Morris Bound in Atlanta and Spelman and Morehouses. These
Right.
colleges with tradition that, black people went and learned and became
Yeah.
successful.
Yeah.
So, like I mean, like, so we'll see. You know what I mean? Like, it's just because he get rid of it, that doesn't mean he ends the funding. But I'm just
Mm.
saying that it's. Oh, so he guaranteed. Some brother said he guaranteed the funding. So all right, that's cool. You know what
Oh
I
yeah,
mean?
he
If that's
did. That's right. I
yeah.
don't know
So
if yeah, he did. He did verify it. So okay, so but that is an interesting point that you make though. If they're being funded by the federal government, will that end if he dismantles the Department of Education? I wonder
right,
if that is correlated in that sense. That'd be interesting to see. And but the thing also that strikes me when you say that is the fact that we have, however, however many I believe centuries of history of people graduating from these places that have
hmm
not come back to solidify those places.
well, I don't know. I'm not gonna say they didn't come back to solidify him, but one big thing that we leave when we get out of college, most of us are going on student loans.
Yeah.
Like so, like for example, if you go up to like undergrad, could cost you a good 80 grand, depending
Okay.
upon where you go, maybe
Okay.
more. So if you go to those colleges and you got these bills, you can't, and you making like, you come out of college starting off 30, 40 grand, and you giving 250 back to just pay for
Mm.
school at the beginning, you don't have the income. And then by the time, it's all about how much money you make that you're able to give back. You know what I
Mm.
mean? We don't have that wealth. Like in a
Some
lot of these white
people do
colleges,
though.
some people
That
do.
because it's that's what I was saying. What do you because I feel like if it was as big of it, if it was as important as people say it is important,
Mm-hmm.
there would be a fund or something. You see what I'm saying?
No,
Like,
and there is,
because
like they do give back,
okay, okay,
but I don't know if it's enough. Like for example, if I give $100 to my college a year because I'm generous and this is what I can afford,
mm.
that ain't enough. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if
Well,
10 of
not.
us do
I
it,
don't mean to the college itself necessarily. I mean to that issue. Like
no, I got you.
that's what I mean. Like to like say for example, like insurance. Like we all giving money to insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Whether I get in an accident this year or not, somebody gonna get into an accident and they're gonna use a portion of my money. You know,
Right.
like that's what like something like that, where it's basically like one of them insurance companies where it's owned by the people that are paying the
No,
premium.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
Like,
something like
yeah,
that. It's like I feel in my opinion, I could be wrong, but I feel like that not being set up means that it's not important enough to the people who are at the top of our black success.
no, I
You know
agree.
what?
It's probably not important.
You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
it's not
And
important.
that's
But there was a brother. There was a brother who said, I think a few years ago during the pandemic, he said, "Yo, this class, y'all graduated. Y'all ain't got to
oh
worry about student
yeah,
loans."
yeah, I
Yeah,
remember that.
remember that?
I remember
Remember
that.
that? So,
Yeah, I
yo,
remember
dudes are
that.
doing it. It's just
Yeah.
that, like, I mean, like that's one dude. People do it. You know what I mean? Even Puffy was giving money to Howard. You know
Yeah,
what I
he
mean?
did get that
Yeah,
mill.
he did. So I'm
Yeah.
not saying people ain't doing it. It's just that, like, we don't. You know what I mean? Like, let's be honest with you. In the extreme of things, the wealth, the money that black people make in America is a lot, but it's just a teardrop of the overall picture, the money that's flowing through America.
Mm.
Like, because we're only 12% of the
Yeah.
population. You know what I mean? And they say that, like, what, 5% of the population controls 90% of the wealth.
That's it.
So,
Yeah. 3.
yeah, so, I mean, like, you put that in perspective, like, this is a teardrop. You know what I mean? We may not have the resources to make this to support these colleges on a mass like we want to.
Okay.
And live a hopeful life and the freedom and stuff that we want to do. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it's not something I've really researched.
Me either, but I know that I know that
We could do more.
it's yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, think about how many companies